The broadcast, it is now time that we get to the conversation. As earlier mentioned, it is going to be a heated debate as we look at that declaration, the SIGNET 3 declaration by President Uhuru Kenyatta, but importantly just how the mountain region is, because it is crucial, as they have said, or as many have argued, in terms of just what direction the nation takes. We are headed to a political season. Politics is crucial, politics is really important, and in that case the people who have the numbers have the biggest of a say. But before we even get to that, ladies and gentlemen, what played out in Kisii yesterday? Just what is happening? I mean, and looking at what played out in the previous week in terms of, you know, the level of animosity that we've witnessed amongst ourselves, and how this escalates to the level of the leaders. Aren't you scared of where the country is headed?
Thank you very much. Of course, what played out yesterday in Kisii was not a very good thing. But then again, one is not even surprised. Yeah. And, you know, it's ironical because the whole concept of handshake was bringing the country together. Yeah. But what we are seeing is a country that is getting more and more torn apart. But there is something our Archbishop back in Nyeri once said about sanitizing our politics. Yeah. I think as much as I would have beef with, say, Honorable Aida, because personally I'm one of the supporters of the Deputy President William Ruto. Even away from those functions, here where I'm seated, there is words I cannot use against the former Prime Minister. Yeah. So it was so wrong of Honorable Bbi to do what he was doing there, insulting the Deputy President to his face. And it was right for Honorable Sylvanus Osoro to react the way he did? I'm not saying it was right, but you see, even here, you know, there is something I can tell you here. You know, I want you to imagine that scenario. Yeah. There are some words I can use on you. This gentleman you see here taking these photos will come guns blazing. Yeah, they will come guns blazing. But the person who was, you know, this was what directed to this individual who really did not care to act or react. So who are you as a person to react if it is not you who's being... No. I mean, plus this is politics. Let's just remind ourselves of that. But haven't you ever heard they saying that that soldiers win the war, but generals take the credit? So a general doesn't have to be laughed. She should sit there. So is that what happens, you know, in these in closed door meetings, that, you know what, when the general is attacked, you people better come out guns blazing? Let me begin by saying I want to, in the strongest terms possible, castigate what happened yesterday in Kisii. I think that is not the right track. That is not where this country ought to be headed. Because I want to believe that, and I want to remind all of us here, that every time you attend a funeral, you must know that there are people who are grieving. To begin with, you know, people who are mourning the loss of a loved one. So basically, when you take your shenanigans and fights to, you know, a burial, I think it's really unfortunate. So I want to castigate that with the strongest term possible and tell some of us politicians that it is time we respect people, it's time we respect events, funerals and what have you. Fighting as leaders is not the way to go. We have children who are watching these things. I mean, it's not the right thing to do. In as much as it pains you, and as much as, so we have to look at it holistically and say, it is time we also stop being vulgar at funerals and burials and what have you, like what we saw with Simba Arati. You know, these conversations in funerals, go get a political gathering, go and gather people out there in Kisii town and tell them that, but not take advantage of an event that was unprecedented because nobody expected anyone to die. And when a family is grieving, you're there, doing your political statements and, you know, being vulgar and all those things. So I want to castigate that, not just that. I am a big supporter also of the Deputy President, I must admit that. But you see, again, some of the things that are being held, like by Sonkol and whatever, I think it's really unfortunate that we can get our politics to that level. But anyway, we have now come to learn that it is not confined to Kenya, it's not limited to this country. We saw it in the US, so I think politics the world over is a crazy thing. Oh yeah? Yes. Wanjiko, all right, you can go first, it's okay.
First of all, I want to condemn the acts that happened yesterday. There's no word that we can use to sanitize the events of yesterday. Yeah. as politicians, we need to exercise a lot of resilience when it comes to issues of heated debates and also issues of engaging one another. Whatever happened yesterday between Arati and Osoro, to me, I think maturity is not just about size. As my colleague says here, we have supporters, we have children who at least we are mentoring into politics. And if the best we can do is insult, the best we can do is to fight before public, I think we are losing it.
Right.
And the direction that we are showing them that politics is taking in this country, we'll get to a point whereby we cannot even be able to control our own supporters, right from our villages to the country. So I condemn it, and I congratulate the Deputy President, Honorable Raila, yesterday for also standing up against the events of yesterday.
Is it not time that we learn from them? I mean, it's on rare occasions that you'll see them guns blazing and throwing blows at each other. I mean, on the contrary, you see pictures of them shaking hands and smiling and laughing. Why is it that at that lower level, people don't seem to see that?
But let me ask you something, even as we get to that. At closed doors, where your supporters, for example, DP has followers, Raila Odinga has followers, and they get some indoor meetings. Do you think at that level they castigate that?
Well, they probably don't. Okay. You tell us, you've been there, do they?
For that, because the idea when you do it, when you want to sanitize yourself by virtue of condemning that in front of everybody, what happens behind doors?
You tell us, you've been behind doors before.
So it's food for thought.
But we also need to look at it at another perspective. The president recently jokingly said, if the common man shall have peace, you leaders, you can fight.
You can fight.
In this case, then, all right.
So are you saying it's sanctioned?
No, the president said it. The president said it.
No, Mary, you just brought up a very important point.
Yes.
That today you see them, like the event of yesterday, the other day you see them having handshakes.
Yes.
And you don't know what happens behind doors. Maybe we're just seeing these plastic surgery things that are happening. But I think at the end of the day, that we need to learn to the events that happen. If you see these guys shaking hands, why should you start fighting on their behalf?
Yes.
Why don't they fight why don't they fight for themselves?
Yeah.
Why don't they bring their children to fight for themselves? I believe we need to take the right actions from leaders once we see them. As the Deputy President says, that we have a shortage of foods in this country. So why should leaders themselves demonstrate that foolishness that he talks about?
What's worse, Wanjiku, is what the people do. Remember what happened in Githurai, Kiambu County the other day. Remember what happened in BAMBA when the Deputy President William Ruto had visited this place. And now this is happening at the level of the leadership. Our biggest worry then would be the people, the Wanjiku, in this particular case, down on ground. At a time when we are going to an election, at a time when we all know that politics, is rife and is heavy and the conversations are tight. Is this what we really want?
I think it's quite saddening, especially that it's now leaders going physical. And I think the president, when he did the handshake, it was in a very good, very good light to the people of this country. And he actually said it happened. And I remember yesterday, you remember Simba Arati mentioned 2007. And what I believe, we of course need tolerance. Especially as leaders, we need to set examples. But what I believe is this conversation cannot happen at a funeral.
Yes.
There are people there, emotions will rise. And of course, what happened is bound to happen when such a honorable member mentions that you need to apologize. And where we've come from as a country. I think it's the high time as leaders, we set, examples. And not in funerals, not in political gatherings, in closed door meetings where we need to have a conversation, because as you've said, we are heading to the general election next year. And before that, we have the BBI, which is coming up. And of course, there'll be campaigns here and there. So I know we need to start a conversation right now. And we also need to decide, because we might, of course, go sit and talk, but there are others who want violence.
But on the other hand, we celebrate the handshake. On the other hand, we castigate Now, that's my point. You do not celebrate the handshake. But on the other hand, there are people who speak of this handshake and they say, well, this was bound to create unity and bring unity. So why is it that, we have this kind of double speak?
Okay, now, let me go before my brother.
Yes.
There is one thing I have always observed from this handshake. I've never, as a Jubilee member, I've never doubted the president's genuineness in that handshake. But I've always had my doubts about the other side that shook the president's hand.
Is it so?
Yes, I have. With me, I even
what makes you say so?
Because, in fact, I have always said my respect for that handshake reaches where President Uhuru's fingers reach. Because these are people we have observed. They are very, very deceptive. And in my observation, this handshake was meant to placate the Kikuyu nation where the president comes from.
Okay.
So that they can support someone in the coming general election.
No.
She can actually come in in defense of that.
I can finish.
Okay, let him finish and then you come in.
Yes. Don't mislead us.
No, I'm not misleading anyone. Right. I'm giving my opinion, and that is my genuine opinion.
All right.
That is why this, even in Central Kenya, where we come from, the handshake have very, very little support.
Of what interest would this other side be to, go out there so that at least they can they can do something bad for the Kikuyu region? Because I mean, the other day you saw Right Honorable Raila Odinga trying to go out there to woo the Kikuyu people, reminding them that there was this, there was that, and here I am. So what makes you think he hates you to that level?
That one informs you why he was even engaging in the handshake in the first place.
But the game is politics is a game of interest.
Yes, he engaged in the handshake just to win over President Uhuru's base.
Really. I think the president has mentioned so many times.
That is why the president's base is so reluctant to support him. The president's base is solidly behind the president.
Don't you think Deputy President William Ruto engaged the president and worked with the president just because he knew he wanted to get the same in return? All right. Majiko, you can come in before Ikonya.
What I'm saying is, the president has mentioned so many times, the handshake is not about 2022. The BBI is not about who will be the president in 2022. In fact, we were with you in Sagana. He mentioned that on Saturday. We were there on Sunday.
But the president is not Raila.
No, he said that.
Yes, the president
and he said whoever wants to become president will come to the people. And of course, we cannot bar Honorable Raila to come ask for votes. The same way we do not bar your hustler, rather the deputy president, to come ask for votes.
Right.
So for me, I know handshake is all about peace. The BBI is there. You've read it. We've read it. So it's all about constitutional amendment. It's not about Raila becoming president.
If the handshake is about peace, why is it not then guaranteeing this peace today?
That's the question.
It's because we have people who do not support the handshake like themselves.
What makes you think they don't support the handshake?
Yes, because they have
work
their
in the
own
same government.
Personal interest. And they believe that, the president is doing it to support someone else.
Ikonya, let's allow Ikonya to come in.
But let her tell us, why didn't Raila agree to Uhuru in the last time?
And I would wish that we control this debate. Let's do a very organized and, sober debate so that we disseminate some of these things. Let me say this. The day I saw the handshake was the day I knew the stage for chaos was set. All right? Because every government comes in on a set of agendas that wants to roll out for its people. Now, when someone sneaks into government through the back door in what is purported to be a handshake, I have forever believed in the genuinity of Uhuru Kenyatta in as far as the handshake is concerned. I am not. I also know, I am not. I would say that for a fact. I'm entitled to my own political opinion. I want to say this. When we set out an agenda for 10 years, we did the first 5 years very well. And then we went, campaigned, and came back. We called Raila, all sorts of names in review. And then at the one morning, we saw him get in government. He has been now claiming that he's not in government. He's been in government. He has enjoyed more in government than...
now, whose mistake is it? You are the Jubilee members. The president is the head of Jubilee. Yes. The deputy president is his deputy. Yes. So why do you complain that there's an intruder in the house and if they allow the intruder to come in, probably get to the kitchen, fix their own food and all that?
Let me tell you something about the intruder. The intruder was brought by the dad. So when your dad brings in...
And what makes you think there was no wisdom in what the dad did?
Allow me to finish.
No, let's allow Stanley to come in.
Yes. Let me wrap it up. And I've always told you that all stable governments, all peaceful governments do not achieve that peace via a handshake. We have the rule of law in this country, but you cannot allow people, and that's why I do not support BBI, because tell me how BBI will heal one problem of people refusing to accept results of an election.
So if the intruder was to go out, to step out today,
people going to the streets every other time, how is BBI going to heal that? I think we've lost it. There is a rule of law. This country is governed by a constitution. And peace can only be achieved via that constitution, not through handshakes.
And the BBI is seeking to amend that constitution that in a way also we've acknowledged has a lot of loopholes.
I'll tell you about BBI. Yeah. When we start talking about Sagana, I'll tell you about BBI.
All right, so let's allow Honorable Stanley come in.
BBI that we want to, eradicate corruption. What is happening around it is corruption.
Yes.
So I'll spell it out to you.
I can almost bet that you are in Jubilee too. And so I'll ask you today, if the intruder was to step out today, if Right Honorable Raila Odinga would say, I am out of the handshake and I'm out, do you think there's some level of sanity that would be witnessed within Jubilee?
A lot of it.
First of all, I would like maybe to go back a little bit.
Yes.
I think politics are dynamics, have so many dynamics. And the way you did your politics maybe in the 70s is not the same way you do it now. Kenya is known to be a country of handshakes. You remember Kibaki, Raila, Ruto, Uhuru, now Uhuru and Raila. Why do we all have to go to the same things? Because there's something that is in the handshake for the country. One, I believe that I am a supporter of the handshake. I've seen the peace that have prevailed in this country, and anyone can go to any point of this country and do their politics. Before that, we used to see chaos in Nairobi, guys throwing stones and everywhere. Akikuyu would not have gone to different areas of this country just because of your political stand. Today, you can go, do your siasa, and come back.
That is not what we saw in Githurai. That's not what we saw in BAMBA.
Let me come there. Let me come there. I'm saying, before the handshake came, there was a lot of politics and a lot of name-calling. But when it came,
President Uhuru Kenyatta can now go to Nyanza region.
Anyone can go there and shout any name that you want. But definitely, what is happening in Githurai, even in Keno, and so on and so on, the politics, the temperatures of siasa in this country are rising. We're heading to 2022. So anything can happen because of the any words that can be thrown from any quarter. Two, you asked about what would happen if Honorable Raila would move out of the handshake. I believe that would be a recipe of chaos. Personally, I would say that just be in the handshake till we get to the end of a journey. That is.
Then we need to entrench the handshake in the constitution. If that is the way things would be happening, then we need to get to have it as one of the clauses in the constitution. Because I believe where a country is ruled by the rule of law, where any government that is ruled by statute, you cannot keep telling me that after every election, one will cause chaos and refuse to accept results, go to the streets and wait for a handshake. That is the way we be running this country.
Well, he did not wait for it. We still are not privy to what it is that happened until these two gentlemen decided to sit down. Maybe your boss, that is the DP, would probably tell us because, from what we hear, he was informed of these plans.
Let's say this. And I want to get back to where I started. And I want to say, number one, the handshake is achieving the negative of what it was intended.
Is it so? Is it that bad, honestly, today?
No. Let me prosecute my case. You'll have, like Tonya is saying, let us have a decent conversation. Yeah? Now, we were told the handshake would bring total peace. Now, see what has been happening. What we need in this country is a total change of attitude, and we need to sanitize our politics. Look, this handshake, if you look at it keenly, the person it was supposed to fix politically, and that is why with me I maintain I don't doubt the president, but the other side, and look even at what they have been doing.
You're trying to say that the other side is the very same side that called for the handshake. Is it so?
No.
It was an agreement between two gentlemen, which you do not know who actually reached out first.
Which is fine, but even look at these BBI meetings. They go, they talk. William Ruto. They talk. William Ruto.
Let's take ourselves back. Hold it right there. Let's take ourselves back and let's remember what really happened until there was a question of sanity in Jubilee Party. Do you want to tell me that the politics of campaigning and all that for 2022 started after the handshake? No, it started prior. And I remember the president complaining that we should stop this politicking, we should stop this campaigning. Let's focus on, developing the nation. Let's focus on achieving something in terms of development for the common mwananchi. Until the handshake came in, and now everyone in Jubilee Party has decided, that is in the Tanga side, has decided that they are going to focus and twist this and say that it is the handshake that came with this.
No, we are not twisting anything. With me, I've been in politics even during Mwai Kibaki's DPL. And we would always say, we want Mwai Kibaki, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, to capture power so that we can change this country. And eventually it happened. What happened with this handshake? And with me, I have no problem with the president. I cannot say the president did a bad thing. But what I'm saying here is, there was no goodwill on that other side, and they were just playing a political gimmick on us.
But just reached out to who? And who is being played? In this case, we've been asking. Let's close on this one. Yes.
You look, after the handshake, Jubilee disintegrated. So those are the fruits of the handshake.
But Jubilee's house was not in order from the word go, even before the handshake.
No, we had a very good party.
Things were not that bad.
Were they that good in the first place? You see, it starts from somewhere. When the president starts on podium and says,
every government has its own sets of problems and challenges. So basically, it was very normal when that was happening. What I'm simply saying is that what the handshake was set out to go out and do, it never achieved that. Actually, it achieved things in the reverse of things.
Wajiko, before we come to close, that allow me to acknowledge the presence of Macharia Taki. Honorable Macharia Taki is the MCA. We take the award. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
What I'm saying is, if you're honest with yourself, and they are here and they know, we are saying this Sagana 3 because there was Sagana 1, there was Sagana 2.
Yes.
Sagana 2, that's when we talked about the BBI. And the president has said as much. We know we don't want to repeat where the handshake came from. The president has explained so many times. There was the 2007, there was the 2017. You know what happened. He actually wanted to even show us some of those people whose businesses were burned down. So he said he reached out to even the deputy president and told him as much. This is what I want to do. So for me, if there is dishonesty, it's from the deputy president. It's not from.
It would be unfair. It would be unfair. All right.
Finish. Because you remember in Bomas,
yes,
what happened very well.
Yes.
And he said you are coming here telling people, you are not part of this BBI process. Yet in the committee,
you selected some of the members.
He actually even mentioned until the deputy president rose and went and told the president, no, that enough. Because now he realized the president was talking the truth.
What do you mean? No,
let's be genuine with ourselves. We need to be honest with
what happened.
Look, you know even what has been happening. Yeah? The deputy president has been saying, this side, they always want to twist things. The deputy president has been saying, the president informed me. But because that time it was convenient to portray as if deputy president knew nothing about this whole handshake, they had been saying he was not informed. Now they are twisting the narrative. What happened there? We all saw. It was just those normal jokes.
Is it so?
Yeah, between the president and the deputy.
Let's allow Stanley
was involved in the formation of the committee.
He acknowledged that yes.
You know,
even if he was involved. No, look, you can involve me. Look, you can involve me in the selection of a committee. For example, here we are like 5 of us, 4 of you. You say you involve me in the selection of this committee, you give me 1 person. Look, 1 or 2 against the 7. So the deputy president might have been asked to contribute to this committee, and also he might have been told this is what we are doing. Then it was done.
And you need to know what surprises very many is the fact that while you were allowed a chance to get like 2 or 3 people representing you. Remember, the president is Jubilee. Whoever it is that the deputy president will choose will be looked at as person who's been chosen from Jubilee. And so in this case, Jubilee had the highest number in terms of representation of the task force or at the task force.
But you know very well that was not a Jubilee.
Okay, well, Stanley, and then of course we'll have. To wind up.
My point of this, the handshake itself was not supposed to solve the mess in Jubilee. It was supposed to bring peace in the country. Jubilee's mess has always been there since inception.
Right.
And just like any other family, we have issues in our house. And I believe that whoever man you get married to your mom, that's your dad. Mm-hmm. And one, mm-hmm. you know, that's a fact that you cannot just run away from.
Yes.
Yeah. Two, when we try to point figures, when we try to point figures here, this did this, the president was very clear.
Yeah.
And he said it in front of the media and the country that he involved his partner. His partner is the deputy president. Mm-hmm. He has never denied that he was involved. Even the men that were involved from the deputy president side, they were mentioned by name. So I believe that the handshake inception was a consultative issue mm-hmm. between the two partners, right. So that they would reach out now to the other side. And as much as they reached out, I believe that we have been able to achieve the issue itself that the president wanted to achieve, and that's peace in this country.
Let's say this is common sense. Let's look at it this way as we involve Honorable Macharia. By the time we're living together in the same house, and I'm about to invite a guest, and I do not tell you that I'm inviting a guest, then it is evident that there was trouble from the word go before this guest came in. And so why is it that when the guest comes in, it looks like it's the guest who came to bring the trouble? Otherwise, if things were in order in Jubilee, then it is almost evident and obvious that the president would have involved his deputy.
Thank you. Let me start by the formation of the handshake. My name is Julius Machaliataki, MC will take the word. I strongly believe the handshake was good. That is tick number one. But I strongly believe the formation and the foundation of the handshake was full of hypocrisy. I want to go back to 2017, 2016. We all campaigned at the DNA, URP mm-hmm. and JAP. Then we went to Kasarani and united all the other teams to make one Jubilee. Immediately we won the election. Immediately, when I was announced MCA elect, that's where the problems of Jubilee started. Okay. Mm-hmm. I strongly believe, and with due respect, the Honorable, our President, was not with good, did not have a good faith to support the Deputy President. Okay. Immediately we won, and when the election was nullified, when the MPs were called to State House, the President himself started insulting the MPs. In that areas, after 1 week, the Maraga nullified the election. Mm-hmm. Now that's when the president realized, hey, I really need these people. Okay. So even the swearing in of that is my personal belief, mm-hmm. even the swearing in of Right Honorable Raila Odinga was censored, funded by State House.
All right, that's an interesting one also coming up. Okay.
Let me continue. Immediately, you cannot tell me yes. you are calling a meeting to call somebody people's president after after winning election, knowing very well if I, Julius Machaliataki, who won just a mayor award, felt there is nobody else who should take my seat. Uh-huh. Then there is somebody who is there announcing himself and there is no action. That is treason. Okay. The treason itself, mm-hmm. that's where the House of Jubilee fell. Immediately, let me, the next step, I want to go back to the roots of all this.
Yes.
In March 2018, that is 3 months after election. Mm-hmm. Maybe 1 month even after swearing in of the new president.
Yes.
There is no way you can tell me these people, goons who came to riot and demonstrate in Nairobi, we didn't have power to calm them. Uh-huh. That was for the reason everything that was happening mm-hmm. was in culmination to give birth for handshake.
All right, that's an interesting one. That is an interesting one because state machinery in this point is being questioned, and it in a huge way makes sense.
Yeah, but
we need to close on this one. We need to get to Sagana.
Immediately after there, I remember we in Jubilee got surprised because we had big four mm-hmm. agendas. Then where the suspicions and hypocrisy started, I call it suspicions, when the governor from Mombasa went in Siaya and said in his own mouth and in his own word, we have been taught to work with the president, but make sure the deputy president is finished.
Okay.
There then came part of our Jubilee members who now continued fighting deputy president, but supporting Right Honorable Odinga. And also remember, in 2016, there were terms that Murathe said with his own mouth, we shall see a different president in 2027. Now this is a kind of different president we are seeing.
So why is ODM Right Honorable Raila Odinga to blame in this case then? It's just, according to you think he's just being used?
Yes. According to me,
he's not to blame.
He is not to be blamed, because if, for example, let me use your analogy example by you. Yes. Me and my friend here, Honorable Kiruga, maybe we are courting you to make you our wife, yes. My wife. Yes. Each one is interested with you. All right. Then you use my friend here, Ikonya, to finish me, so that we can have a through pass to Kiruga. Should I now blame Kiruga, or should I blame the father?
He's certainly not to blame.
Okay.
He's not
allow me to come in.
We have to close on this one.
Yes, but I wanted to disagree a bit with my brother on the issue of the state having sponsored the swearing in of the former Prime Minister.
Disclaimer on that.
Yeah, I don't think, on that one, I don't think the state was involved, because there were even a lot of hostilities at that time.
Okay.
But there is something very, very important that Honorable Ikonya has said here, and that is what we need to dwell with. That is the direction this country needs to take. The fidelity to the laws of the land.
Right.
It doesn't matter whom you are. Look at against Donald Trump tried to play in America. They didn't have a handshake, but they followed the law. What we have here, in fact, it will eliminate all those things about handshakes and all of you. Deputy President has stated, I'll go to the field. If I lose, I'm ready to go to the opposition. That is the position the politicians need to take.
Okay.
All of us, whether it is the former Prime Minister, whether it is the Deputy President, we on the side of the Deputy President have made it very clear. If we lose in a democratic election, we are ready to go.
But why are you taking this a little bit too early? I mean, in terms of the campaigns and all that. Yes, the Deputy President is still in office.
No, we are not campaigning.
It's just philanthropy.
What we are doing, no. You see, you have to go to the people. People have a harabe there. People have this there.
You can go to the people through development, through what it is that you do in terms of it. All right, let's acknowledge the presence of Wamboi Njoki. Honorable Wamboi Njoki is the Deputy Leader of Majority Murang'a County Assembly. Good to have you. And it is a heated debate. And we're closing on this one, gentlemen, because we're headed to Sagana.
What I want to advise the people of Kenya is that the real handshake must happen with the people.
Yes.
Not the leaders. Yes. Because I'll tell you that the handshake that happened between leaders was not genuine at all. But we need to get the people who work together at Grogon, in Gikomba, all over the country, to have a real handshake and know the differences between leaders should never separate us. And if the people who I open shop next to yours, I may belong to a different ethnic group and what have you, but our survival is based on a real handshake among us, the people, not leaders.
I don't know how we got to the handshake talk, because the initial conversation was just what happened in terms of the politics of intolerance that we witness in the country today. What happened in Kisii, taking us back to what happened in Kiambu County, that is Githurai in BAMBA, and just how much we are getting to that level of animosity at a charged season, which is something that we need to look at. And before I knew it, we were somewhere in Jubilee Party and we're doing the handshake. And this, in a huge way has been looked at as one of the biggest undoings, and what it is that is probably, fueling all this animosity that we see today. What is your take on that?
Good morning, viewers. My name is Honorable Wamboi Njoki from Murang'a County Assembly. Where we came from is after the election, we remember that the Jubilee elections was nullified, and when we went back for election, a section of the counties did not go back to the elections. That is where the animosity started, because we saw someone swearing himself in as the people's president. Remember, we only won with 51% of the votes around the country. So that means the 49% of the people were not with the with the sitting president. Yeah. So that is where they started. And you see now there were chaos and everywhere. And some people felt that they needed their president to be sworn in as the people's president. And I think this is where Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta sat down and realized the country is divided. So for me, the handshake came for the sake of the peace of this country. Because has
it served the purpose?
So far it has served the purpose. Let me finish, because I've just come in. Let me make my point, because the honorable members have have already made their point. For the sake of the people I represent, for me, it's a personal opinion because, like for me, I have businesses even in Kisumu. We have seen people moving around. What we have currently, what we are witnessing is political intolerance. We cannot say that we have not achieved that because our honorable members went to a certain funeral and started fighting. Those people they don't represent, they have their own interest, whether it is Osoro, whether it is Arati. What I'm talking about here is the common mwananchi. We have not witnessed any person going to Kibera as a person, as Wambui Njoki, going to Kibera and finding that because I'm a Kikuyu, I'm not welcome. I've not seen a Luo going to, and if you have seen, I would want to see that. But let's not talk about the political animosity that we are witnessing currently. Because before yesterday in Kisumu, there were no those shows. So we cannot just say we have not achieved handshake because of the politicians. No, we have achieved because of the 51% that voted for Uhuru Kenyatta and the 49% that voted were with Honorable Raila. So for me, it's not about the politicians, it's about the Kenyans. And what I'm telling even my honorable members is that we should know, as much as we have our interests as politicians, we should know the time that comes for the sake of this country, where it's bigger than every one of us. When we have to sit down and say, it's not about the peace of Wambui, it's not about the peace of Ruto, it's not about Ruto, not about the peace of Honorable Our Excellency, the President, it's about the bigger picture of the Kenyans. And that's why I want to give you a even in Githurai, where we are in BAMBA, before these politicians walks in, there is peace. So we cannot just say handshake came because of the politicians.
All right, that's an interesting one. Mheshimiwa, hold your peace. And we take a short break and we come back to that. Thank you. Well, here we are, and it is all heated right here in studio. I don't even know how we're going to handle this, but all the same, we're looking forward to hear that there's some level of sanity in Mount Kenya region after that addressed, or that, declaration, that is the Sagana 3 declaration by President Uhuru Kenyatta. He wasn't a charm offensive, so to speak. He really tried his level best to get a hold of the MCAs today. Also, Right Honorable Raila Odinga does the same, and so we acknowledge how instrumental the MCAs are to ensure that they get the BBI document sailing through. Whether it is going to sail through or not is a question of wait and see. A threshold of about 24 there, county assembly is expected to get this document sailing through. And so I'll come back to this conversation, and again, karibuni sana once again. And now we shift gears to Sagana. First of all, I'd love for you people to tell me whether you think this Sagana meeting was, well, in as much as we've had it before, was this instigated by Irungu Kangata, now that you come from from Murang'a? Because the argument from the president was that, whatever it is that was, in that letter had no basis. But all the same, we also saw him acting, on our vernacular stations. He was there, addressing the people of the mountain. And before we knew it, this meeting was called. And do you suppose this was informed by the fact that indeed the president was shaken by the details of this letter?
I come from Ranga, where Honorable Kangata comes represented as a senator. And I would want to say that when
kindly have the microphone on. I think it's off. Yes.
Okay. I come from Murang'a, where Honorable Kangata represents us as our senator. And I would like to say, and actually I was astonished, because I wonder, when we go for Christmas, people are busy with their families and their wives, I was wondering this time, why was Kangata roaming around with the people? And these people, unless he went and did the surveys in the bars, because I really, even in my place, I spent my Christmas in the village, and I never saw Honorable Kangata really coming to take the research. And saying during the Christmas period, you went around Mount Kenya region, that was a lie, that was a flatter. And I would like to say, sometimes it's also very wrong. Sometimes when you are hot and cold, when you're in the government, there are better ways. Or even when you want to speak to the president, I thought even if these were the concerns, which I would not demystify, but I think Honorable Kangata used the really wrong route to just come to the media and release the letters. But what I would say is I'm very happy that the president took this initiative, whether it was castigated by the letter or not. I'm very happy that that happened, because right now we are saying the lion roared and we have the mountain has to toe the line. Yes, and let me say this because Honorable Duku Keroga is here. Yes. And I can tell you, when I saw Keroga at Sagana, when I was raising one hand when I was chanting the president, Keroga was raising both. So I was yes. So I would like to say,
a chance to speak.
He did not get the chance to speak, but he was actually seated in front of me, and I could see how happy how excited he was. Even the second time I took a picture of him, because he didn't find a seat, but he made sure he was at the front where the president, he could hear the president very well. Right. So I want to state this. Sometimes we go out there and we say we are supporting the president. I would like to hear why he came, what was his expectation, and whether his expectation was actually fulfilled.
He was very lucky to find his way there, because
he was, and because we are very peaceful.
The Parliament of Tanga did not find their way there.
I'm telling you, and because we are very peaceful people at the Uhuru camp, we saw him. We said hi to him, and that's I have the pictures here. You will see them.
You are a traitor in this case.
No,
he's not a traitor.
Okay,
What he is, when the father calls, what I mean is, when our father calls us in the house, all of us, I can tell you it was 100% attendance from all the MCAs from the Mount Kenya. When our father calls us, it does not matter whether he is in Ruto's camp, but when our father of the mountain calls, he is our father.
Goko sends a message and says,
because she has mentioned me. Yes. Look, you know, Jockey is these characters who can actually try to convince you a rat is a lion. Anyway, that's notwithstanding. I went to Sagana because the president invited all the members of Nyeri County Assembly. I have no apologies for that, I've said. And Jockey likes exaggerating things. It is okay, I gave it to her. But let me start here. You mentioned about the letter by Honorable Kangata. And we cannot blame Honorable Kangata because he explained very well. The letter he wrote to the president, he didn't give it to the media, but someone along the line he copied. Someone leaked the letter to the media. Okay. So we cannot blame Honorable Kangata that the letter went to the media. Whoever gave to the media, that is the person to be blamed. Now, on the contents of that letter, I'm telling you, what Honorable Kangata list is the truth. Even as we sit here now, it still holds water.
Hence my question, do you think it is what triggered the president to first?
It could be, it could have not. No, let me finish. It could be, it could have not. Now, it was good thing for the president to call the people or to call the leaders. We went there, we listened to the president. And with me, I always like saying, I can, in some instances, respectively differ with the president, because that is what the Constitution is all about.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, we listened to the president, but what is coming out is about those grants. And the president was saying it even in 2014 that because MCAs are elected just like senators and the other government officials, they are entitled to this grant. So with me, I don't even want to dwell on that. My problem and the problem I have, if we are doing this to genuinely make people understand, to genuinely trigger the people to ask questions, that's fine. But if some people, because to some people, even some seated here, the understanding is that this is being done to fight the DP, that will be a very long route to take, because I'm telling you the truth.
What will it take to change the minds of these people who think that it is the DP that is being targeted? Let's allow him to come and then we come to you, Mheshimiwa.
I want to categorically state that the content of the Kangata's letter is the one which inspired us to be in Sagana. Okay. Because even the content or even the discussion revolved around there.
All right.
We agreed. I personally, I was opposed to BBI. And I was opposed because of three things. One, the messages and the intermarrying the 2022 and BBI. And number three, about what they were saying. Kina Wambui can attest to that. BBI was about 2022 and right up for presidency.
Okay.
Wherever they used to go.
You speak as though you changed your mind.
Yes, I changed my mind.
Okay, what triggered you to change your mind?
We agreed.
I mean, because there's nothing within this document that changed.
Everything.
So what makes you say that initially it was about getting these people into power, and now you are in agreement to it, and it's a whole different thing?
We agreed one thing in Sagana, and that is declaration.
Yes.
Let us stop about 2022. Immediately after BBI, we shall discuss about 2022. We don't care who will be the 2022, but first we pass the BBI. That is President's mouth what said. Now, even Kinawaboi, we will not be talking about Raila and BBI. Even Raila himself, if you can listen to what he said yesterday, BBI and 2022 are divorced now.
Yeah.
That was one issue we agreed. Number two, we agreed we shall discuss BBI as we, not as I. Because there were two functions, those who were opposed and those who were supporting. And when we were opposing that issues, we are not opposing supremacy battles. For example, in Kiambu, we were fighting who is the spearheading the BBI.
Okay.
Now everything was about 2022 and who is spearheading. And when we agreed in Sagana that we shall now discussing about BBI, don't mention Ruto, don't mention Raila. Assume those two people would be ballot in 2022. Now we discuss the content of the
as Mount Kenya region.
As Mount Kenya region.
But wait a minute, what is there for the Mount Kenya region to benefit? And what happens to the likes of Akina Silvanus Osoro, who was complaining that we in Kisii have got nothing to gain in this?
Politics.
They will support that because there's something for them.
In fact, politics is local.
Yes.
I don't care what others will benefit from it.
All right. So it's about you and that's it. Okay.
Politics is about local. And that's why even when we were discussing, we were not discussing about how Kenyans will gain. We were discussing how Mount Kenya will gain.
Oh, yeah?
And let us be honest. And about myself, I'll always be honest. Even the booklets we were spreading, giving out, it was about Mount Kenya.
Hold it right there. Coming in of the president's of President Uhuru Kenyatta as your leader, one, do you hold the confidence that as a people of Mount Kenya you've benefited from this?
We benefited.
You have benefited confidently?
It's
all right. Stanley,
let me explain.
That is contrary to what I've heard some of the leaders. You're coming next, then we have Stanley.
Yes, and let me spread this out into three things. One, I want to say that I want to believe that
you were present?
Yes, I was present. Yes,
okay.
I was there on Friday.
All right.
Irungo's Kangata letter, the content of that letter is what prompted the president to call. And I want to divorce these two things. I want to divorce Kangata from the content of that letter. The reason why I personally believe that Kangata, by design, allowed it to leak to media houses is because Kangata was trying to salvage his political life. Because he realized that having gone to Kieleweke and being used to bring down some people, the likes of Kina Susan Keka and what have you, so he really lost in Mulanga. You cannot lecture about Muranga, and we also go there and we are friends there. So he lost out politically. So he was trying to salvage himself by saying, by coming with this letter and bringing out the content of that letter. So you divorce the content and Kangata. So Kangata was trying to salvage himself.
Hold it right there. Yes. So when you say that he was trying to salvage himself,
yes,
then in a way you agree with some of the few who would argue that the contents within the letter really did not hold water.
The content was good, very good.
So in this case, which is which? Is just telling the president what is happening on ground, or
I had the president's man called Murade the other day in a local vernacular station saying what Kangata said was very true, and we need to address ourselves at the mountain based on the content of that letter. That is number one. Number two, let's go to Sagana. I was in Sagana. The levels of psychopathy that I saw in Muranga. Sagana, sorry. The levels of psychopathy I saw in Sagana. I am a very frustrated person this morning.
Ours is a
I sit here as a leader,
world of psychopathy,
and I want to apologize to the people of Mount Kenya. I want to most sincerely apologize to them because we were sold out on Friday. They were sold out on Friday. And I want to say this right.
What makes you say that?
Yes, they were sold out on Friday.
One thing that you...
The levels of psychopathy that I saw, let me tell you something. That is what you guys reported. That is what was happening. There was a meeting that, I don't know whether to say this, but let me say this. Because the members of the county assemblies from the 10 counties brought their own interests first before the interest of their people.
Okay.
And they discussed a lot about their welfare. The grants and what have you.
Okay.
And I sympathize with Wanjiku. The levels of psychopathy I saw in Sagana, I am a very frustrated person.
Do you think what the kind of support you hold for the DP is not one that would be quoted to psychopathy?
Yes, that is my second point. Number three, let me also say this. You cannot tell me to divorce BBI from leaders who came with the idea. You cannot tell me to look at BBI and not look at Raila, because I know selfish interests are big. And you see, all of us are members of the county assembly here. It would be very dishonest to ourselves if we all know that the 15% that we're supposed to get, we still haven't gotten the last 3 exchequers. And now you're now telling me you're going to give me 35%. Whereas some of us, even in December, talking here will tell you we went without our salaries for 3 months. All right? You're not able to deliver the 15%, and you're telling me you want to give me 35%.
Did you sit down with Taki to ask him why he changed his thought? Well, he certainly spoke about a scenario where
he's not among the people who sold out the people.
Maybe I need to come in
Stanley.
at that point. Yeah.
Yes.
One, I want to sit categorically here that Irungo's Kangata's letter is not the one that informed
this
or triggered Sagana 3. Why is it Sagana 3? There must have been 2 and 1. Is the process, or rather the initiative of the president to call his people anywhere he feels like and to give a guidance depending on the direction that he wants his area to take. Taki has said that politics is local. I agree. On Sagana on Friday and or rather last week, we talked about the benefits of Mount Kenya that will be in BBI. The president was very categorical and he said it is not about 2022. It's not about what will happen. Let us talk about our region, where we are.
Well, we acknowledge that Mount Kenya has numbers, yeah? We also cannot overlook the fact that if Mount Kenya were to produce a president, then they should get some level of support from the other parts of the country. If Mount Kenya were to see this document sail through, then they should get the level of support that would be needed from these other parts of the country. So overlooking the interest of these other parts of the country, what does it mean?
Let me tell you something. We are not overlooking the interests of other people.
But that's what Taki says. Taki says, you know what, we really do not care about what the others benefit.
Let me be clear in this. In every village, if there's a beautiful girl that is there, whose time is life for marriage or for courting,
every man goes.
Any man will come in any time of the day or the night, and no one will ask them because they want to get that girl. Why are we talking about the region in Mount Kenya and how it will benefit? Remember, right now, we don't have a presidential candidate in 2022. Uhuru is going home. Let me finish.
Okay,
Uhuru is going home. Uhuru is going home. But then, when he goes home, what happens to the voters in Mount Kenya region? What happens to all that happens in our area? We need to plan ourselves as a family and know that whoever comes, we work together in the same direction.
Are we not walking as a country away from the politics of ethnicity and all that? Let's allow Wanjiko to come in. Yes, Wanjiko. Wanjiko.
I think we are talking about Sagana 3, and I agree and disagree with some of the members, because of course there was Sagana 1.
Yes. The microphone is not. Can we have it on?
It's on.
Is it okay now?
Yes. I think it's okay. I'm saying in Sagana 1, in brief, it was just after the general election, and the president urged us to support the Big Four agenda, which we agreed. The second meeting was when now the BBI was coming in and the handshake and all that, and that's what we talked about. In Sagana 3, we were talking about the BBI is now finalized. It's now a bill. And that's what we were talking about.
Hold it right there. Does this not justify what Ikonya speaks about, the aspect of psychophancy? Because even Sagana 1, you discussed the Big Four agenda, and today we are not getting anything out of the Big Four agenda. And again, I was getting there. Hold it right there. We need to fix that microphone. Let's come to you. Is it not psychophancy that
let me first get to
Ikonya speaks about?
Let me get back first to where Stano was talking about, yes. Like the benefits of the Mount Kenya and why other regions, why other regions are not considered. I want to categorically state here, it is all regions are concerned. Why? Because we are talking about 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. What happened, Linda, is they looked at the total population of 47 million Kenyans. What happened, they said, what is our current budget as a country? How much does the KRA collect as revenue? They divided that to every Kenyan. And that amount came to 7,000 shillings. Today, some of the honorable members you are seeing here, they represent more people than some of the MPs from other regions. This is because some of the constituencies are very small. There is an MCA, I think, from Kiambu, I think Ruiru town, who represent similar people, same number of the people like Lamu County.
Right.
So what happened is now they when we divided this number, the amount we get as the country by the number of the people that we have. Mount Kenya, of course, have the larger population, and so what happened is that is why you're seeing we have additional constituencies so that we implement the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. So what I want to say is, even to Honorable Osoro, even the Kisii County, or where he comes from,
South Mugirango in particular, he speaks of a
it is still
huge
1 man,
population.
yes, it is still 1 man, 1 shilling, and if you look down, you will see even South Mugirango was added a constituency.
Is it so? Is it
yes,
so?
It was. Let me finish, Linda.
Taki disagrees with that.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Allow her to finish. Briefly.
Allow me to finish.
Make it brief.
Yes, I'll make it very brief. And the benefits that we saw as Mount Kenya, we have been added 53 billion shillings. This is not because of anything, any other reason. It is because of our population. And when I hear someone like Ikonya saying that he disagrees with this document because we don't receive 15%, where are we going to get that at 5%? What I'm saying is, Wambui Njoki, let it be in the constitution so that when there is no money, we will understand there is no money. But we will not be under anybody's yes, allow me to finish.
It becomes mandatory.
It becomes mandatory.
Exactly. Yes, it becomes
mandatory, but it is a percentage. But it is a percentage of what it is that the country has.
I'm asking.
It becomes mandatory.
Allow me.
No. Let's have Wanjiko wind up on her thoughts.
Talking about Sagana. So I was saying we discussed the BBI. So of course, I think there was a conversation that it was Kangata's letter that incited the president to call us.
Yes.
I don't believe so, because there was 1, there was 2, and there was 3.
It's okay. I'm afraid you might have to pass that microphone to Wanjiko.
Before I pass, I wanted to tell. Linda. I wanted to tell her.
Wanjiko has barely said anything.
I wanted to demystify what Madam is trying to mislead people.
Yes.
Number 1. Sagana 1 was in 2016.
Yes.
And we were not discussing about any of those things she's discussing. We were discussing about the election. Let me go step by step.
Yes.
In 2016.
Make it brief, because Wanjiko has not. You cannot counter what she's not.
In 2016.
Yes.
In 2016 we were discussing about. We were discussing about what we were. 2016 we were discussing about the 2017. In Sagana 2, it was in 2019 November. 2019 November. I have and I can tell you even 15th date. It was 15th November 2019. Right. We were discussing about Big 4 agenda.
Right.
And how it shall help us. We were not discussing anything about the handshake.
What has happened about the Big 4 agenda?
Take you step by step, because I wrote notes. In that, on 15th November 2019, after discussing Big 4 agenda, we agreed the political temperature, the president cannot implement the Big 4 in the previous political temperature it was. We never discussed about the BBI. We discussed the handshake. Recently,
and you were in agreement that the handshake was a good thing. What informed the change of tone?
What we agreed, the political temperature will slow down the economy, and the Mount Kenya region are industrious people who should at least support that thing.
Allow Wanjiko to come in first. Wanjiko will speak, and then we'll come to you.
After Wanjiko, kindly give me a chance.
And then Stanley is there.
But anyway, what I was trying to say is that the president has been calling us. We've been having these conversations.
Yes.
It's not that it wasn't the first time.
Yes.
And I remember he explained very well, and he said, when you elected me to go work for you. I've been in State House working for you. Yet there are some people moving around, campaigning, launching the projects that I work so hard to get them implemented. And that's where he was coming from. Yet these people here, I remember, and one boy said very well, Ikonya was the loudest when the president asked, do you support the BBI?
He said yes.
And I wish he said no.
I can only accept what it is that you tell us, because why?
Now that I've been mentioned, I must respond to this.
Okay.
Because we need to have a very honest conversation here. We need to have a very this is the kind of psychophancy I'm talking about.
No, you cannot say psycho. Let me finish. Why are you not allowing me to finish?
People? So I must
no, let me finish
first, and then you come into to.
But I'm saying, and I'm saying it.
By the way,
that's being quite dishonest.
I was voted in by people.
Let's moderate. Let's make it. Let's have some order. Let's have some order. Let's Wanjiko finish, and then we come.
That's being quite dishonest.
Right.
Because honestly, I know we can get the clips of that particular day. Why Why are you calling it psychophancy when the president calls us so that we can have a conversation? Yet you are the people moving around here saying the ground is shifting.
And so in this case, do you think the president achieved what it is that he was seeking to achieve?
He achieved, apart from this...
he's going to get support 100% on the BBI?
Not 100% because we have such people
who said yes and changed their tone.
And yet, you know, they meant no.
Allow him, he has the right to reply. Let him reply and then come to you. But Stanley is also on standby. Stanley, you might have to... All right.
I've been mentioned.
Gentlemen, we have about, 1 hour, 15 minutes. Everyone will have a chance to speak.
Stanley is after me.
Can Stanley say something and then we come to you, Ikonya? You will mention.
Yeah, no, wait. She also mentioned.
I've been rubbed the wrong way.
He probably wants to mention you again, and so let's see.
Now, I want to come in from the 35 and the 15%. It is a percentage. We are moving into a situation whereby our economy will not be stagnant. Our economy will grow. We don't have an issue having the 35% put in the constitution as the economy grows. We'll get there. You know, when I hear my colleagues talk of psychophancy, I'm asking myself, we're talking about getting ward fund, about development coming to our areas. Is it that they don't want that money to come to the wards for development? Is that they don't want proper healthcare? They don't want proper infrastructure?
They say the leader that has been promised has not gotten its way.
No, the question is it that they don't want that to happen? Is it that, what do they know that I don't know? Where I come from, we don't have enough money for bursary. We don't have enough money to construct hospitals. We don't have enough money to do all the roads that we want. And if there's a railway that will lead us to that point, I think I would be the first one to lead my people there. 2, if the president sees a direction that will benefit this region, I don't think that the president want to BBI to help him and the family. I believe that whatever will happen will benefit the region and the country at large. At this point I say, it is my own opinion that I believe in it. But then when it comes to supporting it, we need to go down and inform and let Wajiko make an informed decision. 2, the final point. We have a lot of discussion going on. Is the mountain intact? Is it not intact? The president has been in the region propagating the issue of BBI.
Yes.
The only challenge we're having is that Wajiko does not have a copy. Wajiko has not yet led the BBI. I cannot tell you to support the agenda I have, yet you have not seen it. First of all, see the agenda, internalize it, and then understand it. Then know that whether you're supporting it.
What will it take for Wanjiko to go through this? Remember, the document is at the level of the counties already.
As the leaders, that's why we were in Sagana 3. The president came clear. He gave out copy. The copies are supposed to be with Wajiko. The 3 months that we have a lot of discussion happening in the assembly and also on the ground, so that when we make an information, we make a decision, it will have been from the crowd, from what Wajiko says. If she says yes, it will be through. If she says no, the discussion continues.
Duku, let's allow Ikonya the right to reply, and then we come to you. Yes.
I must respond to my colleague here. Tell Wajiko, if you know the kind of a leader that I am, I'm a respected leader elected by the people of Kiambu Town. And I'll tell you, me, I am not a sycophant of anyone. I'm an independent thinker. I did not jump. I did not celebrate over anything. When I saw you guys jumping up, being lied to that a car loan will be converted into a grant. How that is supposed to happen in this life, I don't know. And I'll tell you, I've been systems long enough to tell you that probably some weeks down the line, as you get to passing BBI, then the Okia umtatas of this life will head to court and have that stopped. So forget about thinking about money. Think about your people. Let us ask ourselves some real questions. Do we need BBI to bring in that 5%? We don't. We have a parliament, we have Senate, we have the national parliament that is supposed to legislate to that effect. We do not BBI to do that. Do we need BBI to give a tax relief to youth? We don't. It needs a presidential declaration and it will be done. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Let's not waste money on things that we can do and we have appointed and hired people to do. Let me finish by saying, okay, rather let me say this. For example, when you tell Kenyans, in broad daylight, in glare, and you tell Kenyans that we need BBI, for example, to have Kiambu get 6 more constituencies. That is a lie. The law is very clear. It says that after every 10 years, we'll do a census. Number 2, we'll do a boundaries review. Right. So that does not be, to add Kiambu County, for example, 6 constituencies, does not require BBI. Basically, what I'm saying is we have better priorities, and I must say this. You have said that I support BBI. I have never supported BBI.
So what is the bone of contention? What do you take issue with? The fact that it is not the right time, or the fact that the document is not a good
timing
document?
is wrong. Number one.
Okay.
We have better things that we can do right now, as opposed to doing BBI. What we want to achieve, we can achieve through the number of legislative houses that we have. We have Senate. Let me, for example.
And so you agree these are issues of concern that are important.
My brother here has mentioned a very interesting thing, that we need a ward development fund. Yes, I believe we do. When Irongo Kangata brought it in Senate, what happened? They flopped it. And were they genuine? Why did the president lobby for the word development fund then?
Okay, and so if incorporated in the constitution, then it is well cemented, and there are likelihoods that this would nobody.
Irongo Kangata was bringing in a legislative proposal to put it in the constitution.
Linda, thank you very much. Now, we are on national TV.
Yes.
This is a very serious national TV. And some of the sentiments I've had here, for example, we don't care what happens in other regions. We should only care what happens in another region. That is how we get our region to be so hated for no reason. With me, I wish to disassociate myself completely with such sentiments. I believe as Central grows, Nyanza should grow, Coast should grow, Rift Valley should grow, all Kenya should grow. So it should not only be about our area. Now, me, I have absolutely no problem with people or last leaders being invited in Sagana. My issue is the content. And I wish, it is good for us to engage in this debate so that even as we move forward, we can be moving forward on matters we understand. I have just two issues I want to dwell on. Number one, do you know, and I don't know, I don't know whether Kina Ikonya or Kina Joki, do you know we have never received copies of BBI in the county assemblies? We have never. And you see, you hear BBI is this today, you hear tomorrow, BBI is this other one, we hear the other day, even as we are very arrogantly told even a comma cannot change. So that is what, even now, I'm demanding here, we need the genuine, current, updated BBI in our county assemblies. Let us not assume that ward fund is all that is contained.
What makes you think this will change? This will change anything. You already have a negative mind towards it.
But it's not have copies of the people.
We don't.
Hold it right there. Let me ask you a question.
Look, Linda. We don't have these copies in the county assemblies. And they should even be available in the people in down there.
I am curious.
My second point, you will ask me. Let me finish first. Number two, even you see, BBI is not all about the word fund trickling down. There are many other issues like legislature, the executive, which are being bloated anyway. But the thing is this: even if we just dwell with that part of adding 15% to 35%, the truth is the governors have bickering with the national government because this 15% is not honored. The implication of adding 15 to 35 is, I had the expert who was teaching us.
Let's make this clear on records, is that yes, this 15% in a way will always get itself to the county. The only problem is the disbursement and the delay.
It doesn't.
100%.
And I wanted to bring you. I wanted to bring you up to date with that.
But there's always money going to the county, and we lack accountability.
Let me finish my point, Linda. There was an expert at Sagana who told us we are basing this arrangement with the current, with the current economic status, with the current budget. The current budget is about 1.6 trillion. Now, this one, 1.6 trillion. Our country is in a great debt. This means enough loans will have matured such that about 1 trillion will go into repaying debt.
Right.
You are left with 600 billion. 35% of 600 billion is about, of that budget it brings us to about 550 billion.
Do we then stop crafting laws for the future?
Look, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. You are left with 50 billion.
They need to counter that.
Allow us. You are misleading us.
Let them tell us, how will you share 50 billion between the national government and the county governments, and you have added to 5%?
Allow me to say this, because now we can keep on talking about us, and probably the viewers do not even understand.
Yes.
Allow me just 1 minute. When we are talking about 15% to 35%, is of whether it is the 500 billion, whether it is 1.6 trillion, it is still 15%. So what we are moving is we are taking. Allow me. I never.
Is it doable?
No, we are talking. You know, Keroga, you are interrupting us. You know, allow us. We were silent when you were speaking.
No, you are interrupting.
Please, no, allow us, because what you are saying is 15%, 1.6 trillion. 1 trillion will be taken to paying debt. 600 billion is what we will use. It will still be 35% of the 600. So
no, please, 1.6.
Okay.
Let
me do this. Allow me, Kiruga. Allow me, because we didn't come here for next time you invite us. Tell us it's a shouting contest.
But when we talk about percentages, we speak of the percentage of the amount that is
1.6. 35% of 1.6.
But you said 1 trillion you will be paying debt.
Of course.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Whether we are left with 600, it will be still 35% of the 600.
No.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Allow me to say this because of our viewers. Let me give them an example of the money that is coming. The addition we are talking about. Like in Kiambu, they're the biggest beneficiaries, especially in Mount Kenya region. They used to receive 9.4 billion as a county. They will be receiving 8.9 billion. That's a difference. That's an increment of 9.
That's a decrease. That's a decrease.
They used to receive 9.4. They'll be receiving 18. No. They'll be receiving 18 billion. This is a no. You guys, the problem is you don't read. I'll ask them. No, allow me, Linda.
All right.
They'll be receiving. These people, they are just opposing BBI. They have that document was there even on Murang'a. Even they are not opposing. Allow me. Okay, allow me. Now, allow me. Yes, let me. I'll come to that point. They have received an increment of 9.4 billion. That's like 100% increment. Yes. I want to take now Kiambu people because I want to ask Ikonya a question. Allow me to finish this.
Don't lie on that.
Yes. I like them. Even them, they have the copies. They are there. Even the media houses, they have the copies. So I am not here to lie. So it means the increment will be 9.4 billion. The Kiambu County has 60 wards. If you divide 9.4 billion with 60, it is an increment of 150 million per ward. Higher. Now 150 million per ward. Okay. Now let's go back now again to 18.4. No, you will talk about it. Allow me to finish. 18. Now I want the people of Kiambu to understand what you are talking about. Allow.
In this case, let me finish. Let's assume then money will be there.
Let me finish because I want to come to the. I want Ikonya to tell the people of Kiambu he does not need this money. Let me say this. Even the 5%. The 5%. Allow me to first to finish. The 5% that will be coming. Ikonya will be receiving. Ikonya will be receiving 20 million as 5%. That is the minimum amount per ward in Kiambu County as 5%. That's the minimum. I want Ikonya because he's saying whether he represent himself to say whether he's representing himself or the people of Kiambu. Does he still want the 20 million for the people of Kiambu Township? Me as a Murang'a person from my ward, even if I'm not elected, I divide. If for the people of Keru, whether I'll be in the office or not, I want that money to be in the office. He said here clearly.
The people are worried about the aspect of accountability because it's something that
accountability. We know. That's one thing at a time. Let me ask them.
Yes.
Whether it is 1 shilling or 20 million, we still need accountability.
Yes.
So that's why I'm talking to Ikonya. Let him tell the Kiambu Township ward he does not want the 20 million in that office.
Let me tell them.
Let me finish. He he also said that because of a bill, let me tell you, the constitution is very clear. When we are doing a money bill, especially moving money from the national level to the county level, yes, we must have a referendum. When we are doing the review of the boundaries, that is a people. Yes, you can, even our viewers can check in the constitution. Yes, but when we are adding, when you are reviewing, in the case that we are doing, we must have a referendum. So when Ikonya keep on telling us that Kangata,
well, the reality is that we acknowledge that it's not everything that is in the BBI that requires.
I agree. I totally agree with you. But there are two issues: the money bill, even in the assembly. No. Kiroga, allow me to finish.
Right. You have to get the microphone.
I think.
Oh, you've been mentioned.
I think what we should do. No, I think.
Let's allow. He will respond.
Madam Leader, with due respect, I did not come for shouting much here.
Yes.
I came, we engage on fact and issues, somebody to be listened.
Let's get you
in
facts.
silent.
Yes.
Even if you like my point or not, keep quiet, listen, wait for your point, counter my point. What we are doing here is shouting much.
I'm told county assemblies are notorious.
No, it's not. It's not. Let me. And I want to be heard in silence.
Yes.
If I make a point, if I make a point which you don't like, wait for your point. Counter mine.
Okay.
I want to start by what honorable some members here who are misleading others members.
And before you even get to that, and I'll allow you to do this. Allow me to ask this question: grants for your cars, politics of handouts. Ruto with the mountain members of parliament, with Uhuru at the grassroots. Ruto with the mountain members of parliament, or Uhuru with the grassroots leaders. That is the MCAs. Since handouts is our way of politics, so they say, the car grant is subject to a promise probably. Let me say this. The car grant subject is not a new promise to the MCAs. Yes. It is something that has been promised before. It's one of the unfulfilled promises from Uhuru's first term. This I'm reading because someone drafted it as a question. And so, is it enough to convince the MCAs in passing the BBI? And if it does convince them into passing the BBI, the common mwananchi then will question the credibility of them sailing this document through. Is it because they got handouts that now they decided, okay, and it looks like MCAs were waiting for this. Remember even the conversations of degree and all that, they were in a way trying to blackmail the government or the BBI process.
There you go.
Let me answer. First of all, about the education level is not in BBI.
Okay. It is not in BBI, yes. But remember, they were using this as a bait. They are saying, if this is not scrapped off, I'm afraid we're not going to see the BBI sail through. Yes, that was the conversation.
There is so many things that a lady can tell somebody who is quoting him.
Okay.
There are so many things. So
in this
the
case,
ends justify the means.
All right.
One thing I want.
All right. Okay. Proceed.
One thing I want to tell you. First of all, it's about BBI. There is nothing about education level that is in the law that was passed in 2016, 2015.
Yes.
So that is a law. And whether you like it or not, in 2022, nobody will contest without a degree. From MCA to governor.
Okay.
That is water under
the bridge.
That is done. Number two, they are talking about I also have issues. There's 98% of things in BBI don't need a referendum. That we all agree. 98%. Anita Dhombi and other MCAs, we went around even to Senate presenting our views on the World Development Fund. Yeah. And I appreciate Kangata. He mobilized members in Senate and it passed. What happened when it came to Parliament? Because it happened in June last year. Yes. I want to be categorical because I was following that thing. The members of Parliament who are handshake brothers said, if we pass this World Development Fund, because after passing the Senate, it was to come, because it's the money bill, it was to come to the Parliament. If we pass this World Development Fund, the BBI won't pass. So it was intended, they shoot it down so that they can hoodwink the MCAs so that they can pass. I can tell you for free.
And you have been hoodwinked?
Yes, we have, because we feel like we are flower girls in the assemblies.
Okay, and so you left with no choice.
We need a World Development Fund so that you can have development in your ward. Another thing, my honorable friend here who has said, they keep things that constant. Ward will be reviewed, whether we have BBI or not. Wards, because, for example, we have some wards. The ward to review wards does not need BBI, does not need IBC, does not need referendum. It continuously. Like we have ward in called Kamenu. Kamenu ward in Thika has 52 registered voters, 52,000 registered voters. We had another ward next to him with only 6,000 voters. just in the same constituency, but you see, so that need to be reviewed. They are they are talking about the spirit. The issues we are talking about is the spirit and the letter of the BBI. Yes. There are some people who feel inclusivity won't be felt because of BBI. Inclusivity. So we shall be having demigods in the political arena, whereby I need a Kikuyu, a strong Kikuyu, I need a strong Kamba, I need a strong Luya, I need a strong Luo. So the majority will have the Yahwehs who will kill devolution. Lastly, about the money, I want to pass. Before I was elected, I was not married. Before I was elected, when I got married, I extended my house. Yes, I extended my house. I moved into 2-bedroom. Right. So when we should not focus so much on how where the money will come from. Yes. We should focus on how we shall bake the cake. Okay. Well, let us agree. We have agreed to share this money 65-35.
When money is ready.
Now we now go here, out. Even you do budget. You do budget. Then you go to fund for money. So issue of we is talking about where the money will come from. I want to remind my friend here. We did the Huduma Center, and I am glad because I went to India. I went to Dubai. When I doing some research in India and in Dubai, when you pass a toll station, your account is debited. Debited because you have to be surcharged. Okay. The Huduma Center was to come a model whereby we shall increase our revenue. In Kenya, only 15% of the population are taxed. Right. Go and do it, and you get to the fact.
Now, doing of who or what?
Yes.
Whose problem or whose mistake is that in this case?
Because we did not have the structure.
The structures.
The structure. Now the Huduma Center, even when you go to open an account, you cannot do transaction without KRA. You cannot do any transaction without KRA.
And so in this case,
we shall have a pool of resources whereby we shall even get enough even to share and to pay loans. So don't worry about where the money will come from.
Stanley, let's allow Stanley to come in.
I need to clarify something. No, you'll come, Stanley. There is a difference between IEBC review and
the boundaries review and additional
so IEBC, the only thing they can do without a referendum is reviewing the boundaries. If they're supposed to be 290, they can review, but they cannot go up even by one. Okay. But what we are doing, the BBI, what they are doing,
to add
more constituencies. Go ahead.
Kiroga, you need to wait. You need to wait.
Stanley is able to. Stanley doesn't require that. That one, honestly, that can be countered. And let's allow Stanley to come in and counter that.
Thank you. I think these guys need some water so that they can cool down.
There's plenty of it there. It's just that now.
I have some.
Oh, yes.
I think the water is not doing justice.
He has some too, all right?
Constitution amendment is a continuous process.
Yes.
We have done it before, and wherever we are at, we are about to do it again. And this is what informs the amendment of the Constitution. The bond in the fresh year is about the resources that are coming back to trickling down to our wards. Whatever these my colleagues are not saying is that they really need this money, but on the other side, they're saying that it's not time to get the money. The question I'm asking myself is this money supposed to be channeled to their doorsteps or to direct to the wards for development purposes? If there's anything that will improve Agudhigaki ward from where it was to be an investment opportunity for anyone in this country or in this world, I'll support that. If there's anything that will make sure that my people's livelihoods skyrocket to a better thing, I support that. The only problem we are having is the beliefs that have been propagated to us by different quarters is making us seem as if we are not supporting different quarters. I want to say it categorically here that let us divorce politics of 2022 with what we're having today as a BBI. Taki said that politics is local. If we move from here to Luya, you're seeing that in the Luya land, they're having their own kingpin. Go to Mombasa, they're talking about forming another party. Go to Ukambani, they're talking about Mheshimiwa Kalonzo being their kingpin. Why is it an issue when Uhuru Kenyatta calls his people in Sagana 3.
Because it's a symbol of unity, constitutionally, that's what they argue. Exactly. And I had a panel yesterday that felt like, you know, they were from a different region, and it felt like, you know, it was not proper for the president to do that. Being the symbol of unity, being the president for all as at now, it can be justified for Kalonzo Musyoka to do that, can be justified by any other person to do that, but not him as the symbol of unity.
Let me answer you. He is the symbol of the nation as a president, yes?
Yes.
But
he also has some roots.
Comes from the region. Okay. He has his own backing. Remember when they went to the table and to come up with the formation of the Jubilee government, he came with the voting bloc of Mount Kenya. URP came with their voting bloc. Other parties did the same. These guys came from their different quarters. So you should not remove the idea of politics is local. Look at the document itself. Do you think
the things that were, you know, discussed in this particular meeting were not of interest, or were of interest also to the rest of the Kenyans?
The issues that were discussed in that meeting,
much as they were about Mount Kenya.
One, when you talk of funds going to the wards, it's not about Mount Kenya wards. It's about all the wards in the country. Yes. When you talk about the issue of the youth, it's not about the youth in Mount Kenya. It's about the youth in the whole country.
That is contrary to what Taki said.
No, it's okay with his opinion.
You agreed with him.
It's okay.
I heard every one of you saying yes at that point.
You know, the problem we're having here is leader, is that one, you support this, the other one, you go to that side. The issue of women in this country is not about Mount Kenya region. It's about the whole country.
Yes.
So when the president decides that he is going to move from his doorstep, he starts from there. Linda, let me ask you a question. If today TV 47
yes,
gives you a job and you're working there, tomorrow another media station tells you leader will give you a job in December, where would you be settled first? It's where you're working. Yeah. So the issue of the BBI here is, let us get what is there for our nation and for our region, then let us talk about other issues way later.
All right.
Linda,
let's allow Wanjiko has to come.
Just a small intervention, Linda. Just a small intervention. Linda,
it has to be less than 30 seconds.
Yes. Linda, number one, we didn't have any referendum for the 15% to be given.
Yes.
And also my colleague here, Honorable Wakifia, when they keep here saying that the resources will come, I don't know what, he knows very well that from last year, even some projects for last year, with this 15%, we are still waiting to go to the ground with projects from last year, because the national government has not remitted the 15% to the county to do these projects. So with me, I'm not even opposed to the BBI, but I want us to have a honest conversation whereby we are telling each other, where will this money come from? Because if I have roads in my ward that have not been done because the national government have not remitted the 15%. What miracle will happen? And your attorney is telling us every other day.
Is it not what Taki says, that you have to plan for the future in as much as
Wanjiko, can I respond?
Yes, Wanjiko, please.
I think it's now become, anyway, we are politicians and it's understandable. What I'm saying is, why do you want to cross the bridge of where the money will come from, and we've not gotten there? Why don't we pass the BBI first? Then the question of the money comes in. I think we are overlooking a lot of issues in the BBI, and I know the process has already begun. The administrative part is already being implemented. The legislative part, we already have the National Assembly passing some of these bills. So when it comes to us, the county assemblies, why do we want to ask a lot of questions? Yet when it was a process, they came to the counties, our people gave their views, and for me, I'm looking into it as, it's we have the 35% of the money going to the counties,
right.
The 7-year tax holiday for the youth. We have the youth commission. We have also the issue of women. I know, and Wambo here will bear me witness, like when some of us get nominated, yet we vied, they also vied, she vied. They end up now, we end up being treated like lesser members of the assembly.
Yes.
But now that one in the BBI, there is a proposal that the people who vie, who already have a connection with the people on the ground, will now be with the one nominated.
Yes.
The vote will just be weighted against all the other votes, so that they get nominated. And that, of course, gives an advantage to the political parties, because they are being told those who consider the special interest groups, which is women, persons with disability, the youth, will also receive quite a higher percentage of the political parties fund. Why are we overlooking all those issues and turning the BBI process into a political process? playing a lot of politics around the BBI, yet we do not want to see the advantages. As a people, the whole country, we are not talking about Mount Kenya. I don't believe BBI is about Mount Kenya. And Stephen here of Stanley, said the BBI and the president, why he called us the Mount Kenya. It's, of course, charity begins at home. Of course, there is no way he can go to Kisumu and call people in Kisumu, yet he hasn't called us who come from his home ground.
You see, home for the president right now is the country at large.
Good.
But he, over and above him being the president, he's also from Mount Kenya.
Okay, all right. Well, that in a way is arguable too in this way.
Ikonya. Respondents, my sister here did pose a very interesting question. I want to answer to the people of Kiambu that I represent. And I present them with a lot of diligence and honesty. But we must tell our people the truth. I want as much as I can get for the people of Kiambu Township Ward. Actually, 20 million is not enough. I would want 50 million or thereabout. She did mention a lot about Kiambu. I will tell you, you're a stranger to Kiambu. I saw you read a script. Probably the person who wrote the script to you never gave you actual
It's not really this. I think it's just getting the facts right. That one, okay. You can't have everything. That's why we have the BBI in a document.
I was talking about BBI and issues revolving around BBI and why I do not support BBI. I was telling my sister here, we've all agreed that 90% of this document is restrictive. And we have agreed there's a certain percentage that is administrative. It is only about 2 or 3% that need the referendum. Why? Because BBI came to create seats for people.
Is it so?
Yes, that's what I believe. Now, allow me to finish. It is about premiership, it's about...
Did you in Sagana counter that in a way? Did you get the confidence to counter that? Were you overpowered and overshadowed to a level where you could not speak?
The psychophancy that was exhibited
could not allow
some of us, who do not allow some of us. And you see, when we come to private meeting, for example, I have seen members of the county assembly being castigated for making contributions at that meeting because information did not come out in the proper way. I saw, for example, the member for Dumberi, my neighbor, the question he was responding to from the president is how much it gives out in terms of bursaries. But now the narrative that is being peddled around here is that was contributing towards BBI and giving his support for BBI, which I know he does not. He also don't believe in BBI.
So with the level of psychophancy that you speak about, Ikonya, are you now trying to tell us that the BBI will sell
to Kenyans and to you as well?
All right.
BBI purports to be the document that is coming to solve issues of corruption in this country. Whereas now, we see now members of the county assembly negotiating with the document, being corrupt in the first place, and negotiating about car grants so they can pass this thing.
Okay.
And I saw them jump to the roof because some car grants have been promised. And it has never come. I have asked you, how do you convert a car loan into a grant in this life? How do you celebrate that as an MCA? No, I didn't say. I mean, how can you be lied to? How can you be lied to and jump to the roof? And you know it can't happen.
But when the benefits come, you will also gain. Will you say no to that? Will you say no to that, Ikonya?
You know, when money is put in my account, there is nothing much I can do about it. But I would wish that we would have an honest conversation as Kenyans. We are corrupting members of the county assembly to pass BBI, while BBI purports to be the cure for corruption.
Is that not double standards? Will you say no to the grant?
No, Linda. You know, let me say this.
But can anyone here probably can explain to us how you can convert a loan into a grant?
Linda, you have asked that question. Let me answer. No, let me answer. Linda, I've mentioned here in the year 2014, His Excellency the President himself said, MCAs, just like the other candidates of elected listeners, if an MP is getting a grant, if a senator is getting a grant, the same should apply to the MCA because they have been elected together.
Right.
So I have no problem with that. With me, whether the car grant comes or not, that does not bother me at all. My issue is,
it bothers the electorate who will feel as though you were,
with me, I'm not asking. I'm not asking for it. But if it comes, there is nothing I can do about it.
And the electorate will feel like you've been,
my point is this thing.
Bribed to.
Yeah, but my point is this. We are narrowing this issue as if BBI is just coming to benefit MCA. Me, I want us to look at the broader picture and ask ourselves. Because you see, and I mentioned here as we started, the BBI narrative. For example, The ODM brigade, they will always go out there. Like recently I was at another media station with Honorable Jakoyo Midio. He says he is the Nyanza coordinator for BBI. He talks, then he attacks William Ruto. What I'm saying is this, and this is where we need
to
get...
Is it not what you also do? You talk and then attack?
I don't. I have not.
But we started with attacks from the word go.
Yeah, but you see, the issue is this, and this is where I want to bring this into proper perspective. And I agree with my colleagues who are saying, let us separate the issues of BBI with attacking politicians. Because BBI has been somehow, and these people know here that this is the truth, it is an angle from which you attack Deputy President. And you know, this is very, very, very mischievous because William Ruto was good when he was supporting President Moi. William Ruto was good when he was supporting Raila Odinga. William Ruto was good as long as he was supporting President Uhuru. But now, we are seeing different ball games. I'm trying to say this. Let me finish. Let me finish. You will have your take. No.
You will counter that.
You will counter. Decent gentlemen wait for one another.
But you also need to make it brief so at least the others can come
finishing.
in. Yes.
I want to say this. We have seen even those bombasses how some politicians have sought to embarrass William Ruto. It must, if we want BBI to benefit Kenyans, let us follow that path.
Are you then not bringing this debt conversation? Because if we are to talk about who supported who, then we'll start saying, right Honorable Raila Odinga, as he said Kibaki Tosha. And so it is only fair that you treat him with the same...
The Deputy President have made it very clear. That he have made it very clear.
But his proponents have been pushing the president. Initially, it's the proponents that have been pushing the president to say, kumi tena, kumi yako,
no, but it is the president
who actually...
Linda, it is the president who said it.
Linda. All right, okay.
Ask them. As you pose questions, ask them how much they took home for pledging support for BBI.
Let us not go.
How much did you take home for pledging support for the BBI, Stanley?
You see,
I mean, he was in attendance, and so that is also...
How much did you take home?
How much did you take? How much did you take?
Honestly,
how much did you take?
We have changed this conversation from our people to us.
How much did you
take home? No, how much did you take home?
Me, I went home before I had you.
Linda, I will say something.
Make it brief.
The level.
Let's have some order.
Yeah. I was fast.
It's okay. Let's just allow him to say something small and then we come back.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Linda, when I'm seated here, I'm disappointed by the kind of propagandas that Kiruga and he's trying to push here.
Okay.
One, when I started this discussion, I said, it is not about 2022 and who will be president. It is about what we are about to take today and what is on the table as BBI offers. I witnessed in 2007 the violence that was there. And I went around this country with a group of youth preaching peace under what we used to call Tuelewane. I used to see people sleeping outside, children without parents crying and going hungry. If BBI is coming to address the issue of political violence, that one I say I would support. If the issue of one man, one vote, 1 shillings is there, I believe that that's the best thing for this country. But the problem is the lies that we are being told here. The president was very categorical, and he said that I'm going home. It's only God who knows who will take the leadership of this country come 2022. I don't know whether I'll be there in 2022 to lead a Godigaki or whatever I want to do in 2022. So if today BBI is the table, let us talk about what is on the table, but not what we think will happen 1 year, 8 months down the line.
And so the president is leaving, security in a way in the BBI for the people of the mountain?
It's not about the mountain. The BBI is coming to address issues of this country, not about issues of a region itself.
All right, Wamboi is coming in, and let's take this question from Nelson Ngeno, who says, first of all, to him, the Sagana meeting was tribal, led by chief tribal, men, and it was not proper for the rest of the people of the country. But away from that, he says, when she says that the additional constituencies were added because of the population, let them be reminded that the census was hurriedly carried out at night, and we had people in other people's counties, especially students who happened who happens to be in most Mount Kenya universities and colleges, yet they won't be considered for the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote in foreign country. The other day, Kiambu County Assembly agreed that no non-Kiambu or other tribe will get employed there. So don't grab too much from other Kenyans in the name of high population.
First of all, I will not answer on behalf of Kenya Bureau of Statistics.
Yes.
But what I believe is even our people were counted somewhere else, either in Coast region or other regions. So the disparity will be very, very minimal. And I would like to confirm to my sister that the disparity will be very minimal, because everybody was counted depending with where they come from, and they took a lot of details, where you are born, where you know, those kind of details. So she should not be very worried about the census. Let me just come back to Kiruga just a little bit. When Kiruga now want to change the narrative here to be of individual, and here we have said, let us make the BBI issue not about individual. You see him donning the hustler cup, especially to the national television. It's to make a statement, and I'm very sure if you check to his boxer, you can also see that he's donning that. Yeah. But my only problem when he keeps on mentioning Ruto, that is where we get lost. Because when we talk about Ruto, the only thing that comes in the mind of Kenyans is corruption. When we're talking that money is not coming back down to the counties, we know between 2013 to 2016, he was
that has not been proven in court.
It was but it is not. But that is my
innocent until proven guilty.
Exactly. But it's because
Can I read this from Advice Mudalo? He says, to solve the problem of corruption, do not put money in the MCA's account. If you do, there is nothing much they can do about it. Well, okay. Yes. This is indeed a country devoid of leadership.
Let me tell you, where we are misleading Kenyans, I'm happy Ikonya may probably feels he does not deserve that money. But let me say, if you want, let us not be hypocrites or just to excite the public. We, as the county assemblies, we mirror National Assembly. That is absolute.
Right.
We mirror National Assembly. If an MP, in fact, we are supposed even to get the 50% of what they get. But if they get a car grant of 7 million, what is wrong with an MCA? You know, Ikonya will want to excite the public because of that. But it's either they abolish all of them or they give all of them. It is that simple.
But what is right with that when Wanjiko is suffering down on ground?
You see, let me finish.
Give them a grant when there is no exchange.
Let me finish.
It's because of BBI.
So is
now getting a grant?
Every time I'm speaking,
Ikonya is coming.
Yes, he's coming in.
Mentioning us, you are not giving.
No, I'm not. No.
I'm going all the way to Wanjiko.
Money. You see now what I'm saying is. Remember what we are talking about. We are talking about billions that has been mishandled by the politician. And I want to bring this to attention. And when we always say that Ruto has never agreed on anything, remember the issue of Arol and Kimwarel Dam. No. The deputy president went to the media. No, you are not here. You're not here representing them. He said, no, you're not representing. You are not representing. You are not representing the
deputy. You don't want a replica of what happened in Kisii County yesterday, ladies and gentlemen.
But what I'm saying is I'm saying what the deputy president said.
Okay, he acknowledges that it was only 21,000.
He said it is only 21 billion. It is him who said.
Okay.
And Linda, let me tell you, we have never seen the deputy president in this country going after those people, saying, working so hard to make sure the corrupt leaders have been taken to the courts. What you have seen is him having included the people who, like recently, Sonko was impeached because of corruption cases. Whose camps is he in?
He just joined the camp.
He joined the camp.
Just the other day.
He gives them solace.
He was pro-Uhuru, remember?
He was always...
No, but you see, why does he accommodate those people? Okay. So we have seen him tainted. So when we say we don't have money for BBI, and that way I'm coming to your point.
Are you saying we failed on the fight against corruption?
We have
evidently.
We have not really failed. I wouldn't say we have.
But we have this gentleman that you're mentioning walking around scot-free. If really the laws were doing what it is that they're supposed to do.
It is now in the BBI that a corruption.
So we have to wait until the BBI.
We have to, because we don't have otherwise. Because let me tell you, Linda. Let me say this, Linda. The reason why Ruto and his core do not want this BBI to pass, it is because they are afraid of, because they know if this BBI passes, it is in for them. The corruption cases will not even in 1 year. It will.
Let's allow Wanjiko speak.
We need to get back the main conversation.
We're coming to you, Taki.
I'm really sad. You know the way it's turned out to be, because when I came here, we were discussing the BBI and the Sakana 3 declaration. But when he came here, there are some people, and when we mentioned them, and now they start jumping. Someone saying, at BBI is really about MCA's personal interest. An MCA really asking what we got out of Sagana with. Because honestly, I expected us to debate, like as Wanjiko Mohoho, this is why I'm supporting the BBI, because I want
these are facts that need to be discussed. So if you got out of Sagana with something, then it should also be known. So at least
it should be known. But if we speak an issue like something like car grant, that's something that shouldn't be connected
to the conversation
to the BBI at all. Because it's a conversation that started way back in something to do with MCA's welfare, and I don't think it's quite shameful that you're on a national television discussing about such a thing. What I expected is
they will not pass BBI
until
what I expected
what it is.
And my friend Konya said the BBI is not good because of this and this, and Wanjiko says I support the BBI because there will be incubation centers for youth who come mashinani, the biashara mashinani. I'll support the BBI because there is the Youth Commission. I support the BBI because of all those issues that are there in the BBI.
What we should know, and I somebody here talked about psychophancy. I can also talk about the blindness of we call them educated fools. We don't need a BBI to have a commission. That's why I said 98% of the issues in the BBI don't need BBI. We can implement them right now. We have, for your information, we have Youth Fund. We have Uwezo Fund. We have AGPO. How many youth have benefited from that things? Before we talk about commission, we must take an audit of the issues that youth were promised and see why were youth not benefiting from them. So those are the icing in the cake. All those things you are talking about those things we are talking about the commission, those are icing in the cake. Because we have Youth Fund, we have AGPO. How many youth have ever benefited from the AGPO? Even in the majority, Ikonya, who was our majority that can attest, we passed a motion in the assembly to do an audit of how many contractors have been paid, youth contractors in the county, the county government of Kiambu. We found none, unless you are well connected. So those issues are the icing, and you should not be weak about that. Lastly, I want to talk about two things. Any person from Mount Kenya who is not supporting BBI has a problem. Yeah. And any person from outside Mount Kenya supporting BBI has a problem. BBI is all about Mount Kenya region. And I can tell it in the eyes in the media and say, we talked about our issues. When we talk about 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shillings, I can give you a constituency like Magarini.
Right.
Magarini, where you walk more than 200 kilometers to get a health center. In Kiambu, you cannot walk more than 10 kilometers to get a health center. In Kiambu, you have more than 5 universities. In Kirifi, we only have 2, which are sub. So when we pass this BBI, we shall elevate Mount Kenya region in respect to others. Okay. Others will suffer. And let me finish. We then come to suffer because they are not seeing the BBI, the content, they are seeing BBI based on who is supporting it. Okay. And I tell you, and I will let it be in the record, if my issues was let functions follow money, not person to follow money.
Okay, let's read some of these comments from the viewer.
1 minute, yes? 1 minute. There is a ward in Kiambu where they are building even swimming pool. There is another ward in Ladi, in the same Kiambu, where they don't even have a tarmac road. So when we talk about 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shillings, it's only benefiting Kiambu and Mount Kenya region. It's not benefiting to.
But again, you're changing. You're changing.
No,
you're just putting this clear.
I put myself clear and said, anybody who is from Mount Kenya
and is
not supporting BBI has a problem.
All right.
And any person from outside Mount Kenya regions who is supporting BBI has a problem because the content will come. We shall have more money in Mount Kenya region. We shall be more richer.
So there's a level of imbalance in this. Yes, this is interesting. Hold on, let me read this question. Let me read this. Nyakwar Won says, I'm Liza Mutuku. Liza Mutuku will be coming in later. My name is Linda Alela, and she asked why. Asked this to the Kiambu MCA. Why did they decide to heckle Raila when he toured Githurai, and yet Mwaura was seen in the morning inciting people? Are they in real sense to say the violence was organized by the man Mwaura because he prepared the way for violence leading youths and mothers? Well, that is subject to what it is that she asked, disclaimer to that. And then another question she asks, what's the motive behind opposing BBI? Because it's obvious, even before people's opinion was taken, Ruto already opposed the BBI. And then a common Mwananchi who can't put food on the table, a hustler, why do they pollute Kenyans by terming themselves hustlers, and yet they have choppers and can put 3 meals a day? Are they fooling Kenyans? And of course, Ruto was the vice president, he is the deputy president. Why is he now blaming the president only after disagreement, and the president only after disagreement, the president, but not when they were together?
Point of order.
Or after disagreeing with the president, yes.
I was to react first.
There's a question.
Yes.
Point of order. Point of order, leader. Point of order, leader. Point of order. Point of
Make
order,
it very brief.
Point of
Make
order.
it very brief.
Now,
yes, the question is directed to Kiambu, and also you're from Kiambu.
Yeah, but
you're not opposing. He's the one who's
but
opposing.
I had a
At least you
reaction.
changed.
I had a reaction to him.
Yes.
Linda, you know, it is very, very, very sad, and I'm surprised now that the newly converted messengers of BBI are here telling the whole country, because this is a national TV, that BBI will only benefit Central Kenya. I thought this, even the president, even Raila, you wonder whether all those leaders are supporting BBI so that it benefits.
I want to believe that it's an honest conversation. The honest conversation then comes in with the fact that it is a progressive document.
But I want
not everything that is within this document.
I want to counter what Taki is saying here.
I want to ask Kiruba.
No, let me finish.
Or you don't have a point.
No,
if you don't have a point, you can just go out. We will wait for next show to come and counter.
Let's proceed.
So my issue is this.
Give your point.
Yes,
give his point.
My issue is this.
Let's finish his point.
No, the issue is this. I can counter, I can give my own points.
Yes.
That is a very, very misleading statement. Linda, I don't know where these people you are reading here, they are saying that the deputy president is opposing. Where is he opposing? Are we supposed to just say yes without raising issues with the document?
But saying, questioning that means then you're opposing.
No, Linda, you're asking.
Yes.
No,
right.
The point is this. Yeah. The point is this. What the deputy president has been doing is just like all of us. He has been raising concerns. What if this is done this way? What is this if this is done this way? What is wrong with doing that, Linda? There is nothing wrong. No. So no, I'm reacting to what Linda had said. Personally, Linda, what I'm saying is the document we should have, Linda. And it is very sad, I want to repeat. For someone to come here, like, for example, like in Nyeri, 52% of the Nyeri county is Kieni. Kieni truly deserves a new constituency. We have not gotten one. Madera is another very large area. So the issue I'm saying here is that let nobody come here to lecture us that BBI is very helpful to the people of Central Kenya, selling us fear that there will be finished. Finished by who? We shall go to court. That is, BBI is not an end unto itself.
So what is your point? What is your point?
All right. So what is okay? Well,
Can I respond to
this as you respond to her and you make it brief. Nicholas Mugire asks, why are they complaining of Uhuru having leaders in Sagana and they don't complain when they meet in Karen?
Yes. Exactly.
We did not complain at all.
Yes, you did not complain. Somebody else complained.
I want to respond to the substantive questions that were put across.
Yes.
One, the issue of Githurai and the violence that happened. I've been on this TV and I've said this again and again, and I started by saying this, that I castigate any forms of violence in shapes and sizes and what have you, everywhere in the country, not just in Githurai, everywhere. We do not need to be violent as we propagate our agendas. That is number one. Number two, there's a question that has come of the issue of the hustling narrative. Let me explain this.
Make it brief.
Very brief.
Yeah.
Hustling narrative is a narrative that is a believed narrative. People who would believe that I can become something from where I am. I am telling you the number of people who are paying loans in this Nairobi, the people you call rich, and you see them drive vehicles, and they are hustlers, they are paying loans. to service those cars and what have you. So I'm saying it's not about owning a chupa. It's about you started from somewhere and you can get to somewhere. That is what the hustling narrative is about. It's a belief system that you can become anything you want in this life. That all the good things in life are free and can be attained by believing that you can be a better person tomorrow. That is the hustling narrative. With the carriers of the message, maybe? And you see the reason why the DP brings in the narrative is because he has been there once and he knows how to get up there. So he's saying, let me go up with you.
Corruption. No.
Hold it right there. Don't not so quick. We keep maintaining that.
Respond to that.
All right. Okay. Let's come to Wanjiko. And Wanjiko, there's also a concern here. Anthony Muse says the Sagana meeting didn't achieve its purpose. What we are hearing from our discussion is evident that Mount Kenya is divided. This also was part of my question, and I'd want to ask you this. We are headed to, well, we're talking BBI, as you said, but then evidently we cannot run away from the fact that we're also headed for an election.
Yes.
I mean, what does it make you feel as a member of County Assembly, and doesn't it put some level of danger to realize that, Mount Kenya can go to the election divided? What would it mean? In most occasions, we've seen Mount Kenya going as a united lot. If this is going to be different this time round, what happens?
What I believe in is that Sagana was a beginning of our process, and it's a process of going out to our people and explaining to them. And of course, he also met over 7,000 delegates from across the Mount Kenya region.
Yes.
And I believe Sagana achieved its purpose, because all we wanted is to have a conversation, and we agreed to support the BBI.
When you say it was a beginning, does it then mean that there'll be need for a Sagana 4?
Not Sagana 4. The beginning means now that we can go out to our people and talk to them about the BBI. Okay. The problem is there are some people who want to sell another person's narrative, and I think it's coming out very, very clearly in this conversation, because all they are mentioning is not BBI. All they are mentioning is an individual.
No.
And that's the problem we have. The problem is not us as a Mount Kenya region not uniting. The problem is because there are some people who want to sell another person's narrative for their own selfish interest. Are you not also
selling the narrative of the president?
For their own selfish... No, all we are selling
and actually one person sent a message.
I'm not mentioning the president. All we are talking about is the unity of the region.
Individuals.
The unity of the region. Okay. And the president just happens to be the one, the driver of the message. Mm-hmm. But now the problem is we have some other people with their own selfish interest. Ours was unity, and what I believe in, as we were walking outside the gate of Sagana, we were all in agreement.
No,
I don't know where they went to those.
No, we were not. You didn't ask us.
No, the president asked, and all of us agreed.
It was a whole three from Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, we were in agreement.
I stated outside the gate.
And what Sagana I believe is,
and I said, I'm going back to consult my people in Chinga. They are the ones who will give me the election on how I will vote.
So will there be room for you to come and present your consultations and findings of
because they know very clearly
Let them tell us.
The BBI, we already have the final document.
Yes.
And it's been a process, and they all agree. We've been part of the process.
We have not.
And we talked about that in the earlier conversation we had. So the people saying the mountain is not united, they only want to propagate someone else's narrative, not of the mountain. I believe the mountain, the 10 counties will pass the BBI very early in the morning.
Is it not necessary to bring these others to this other side? For the unity
and uniting.
Okay.
That is a difference.
Yes.
Between passing the BBI and uniting the people the mountain.
Kenya. Do you think you're divided?
The mountain will never be united. Because personally, I will never support what they are selling.
Who?
What are we selling?
You know you are selling
We are not selling Thailand.
They know.
No, it's true. No, it's true.
Nothing wrong.
We have been
what is so bad about Raila that you do not support?
He is not bad. He is not bad. He is not bad.
So bad about
yes.
No, he is not bad.
And let's not focus on individuals as such.
And also,
but what is so wrong about that?
She went even to Bondo. I also went to Sugoi.
Okay.
So we in Mount Kenya, we are divided politically, and there is nothing that will unite us. Even if we go to Sagana 10, I will never change my political stand because I know where I am coming from, where I am, and where I'm heading. But about passing the BBI,
you will have it.
I will pass it. I categorically say I will pass the BBI, and I will campaign for this BBI because I have said any person who is in Mount Kenya and is not passing the BBI has a problem upstairs.
And for the few who are,
Linda, I think we are losing it here.
Yes.
Since the inception of this conversation, I said it very well. Let us remove the politics of 2022 from the issue at hand. The issue at hand is BBI. Everyone after BBI.
How realistic is that?
No, I'm talking about what we're having right now.
All right.
No, the reason that we came here is about the declaration that we had in Sagana.
Yeah.
Once the BBI is passed or whatever happens to it, now you can go to your own cocoon, go support whoever you want to support. But one thing I would like to say is that the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. When you talk about the unity of Mount Kenya region, we can't be united due to what we want. The president was very categorical, and he said, first, take what is on the table, then discuss on what will happen next.
Right.
Then, if that's what is on the table is what benefits our people, what happens? I come from Tetu constituency. Tetu constituency has 89,000 people, according to the population that we have. It is at the threat of being joined with Othaya and Mukurweini.
Yeah.
What happens if Tetu is dissolved? We lose funds. That happens. Maybe the 100 million that comes with CDF. When our wards are dissolved, we lose out from a lot of things that happens. If I'll be leading my people to see that Tetu constituency is dissolved and Agodhigaki is dissolved, as a leader, will I have failed or will I have gained? I don't want to be judged by history that I was there when my area got dissolved and lacked in resources. Leader, I want to say this categorically. I'd like to look at the people of Mount Kenya in the eye and tell them, if there's something, if there's a time that requires our unity, is today, not tomorrow. If there's the time that we need to talk with one voice and unite, is today. Let us unite and scrutinize the document. Let us have kamukujis on the ground and let us engage soberly without feelings, the ones that we have seen Kiroga here. Right. I know that Kiroga has ambitions of being an MP sometimes when it comes. Does he want to tell me that when he gets to parliament, he'll say that the 5 million grant has given to MP, he doesn't want to enjoy it? I want to say that every leader has a right to enjoy the benefits that comes with serving his people. But then at the end of the day, who matters is the person that elected that leader. If the person that elected me benefits without of resources that will be entrenched in the constitution, I'll be the first one to support. But then let us note that I cannot support, I cannot oppose without the word that comes from the ground. Wajiko will have their say because the constitution being amended supports Wajiko's initiative.
Oh, Linda, I've been mentioned. She comes in and then you come in. She comes in and then you come in. All right.
What I want to assure Kenyans and the Mount Kenya region in particular is that the mountain is united, the mountain is standing tall, the mountain is not going to bow to anybody, to any pressure. And when that time will come, Linda, you are going to see. And I want to tell them, anybody who is opposing BBI is an enemy of the mountain. Whether they come from there, whether they are coming from anywhere else, they are the enemies of the mountain. The reason is
what he's saying, yes, this is all about the benefits of the
because I'm getting there, Linda. This is because if you look at let's go back to the statistics. We are the number one. We have the numbers. But when it comes to resources right now, if you go and compare the resources we get right now from the revenue sharing commission, how much do Mount Kenya get? So but what we are saying is it's one man, one shilling, one vote. Okay. So why they are coming to quotas and why they have been in the Mount Kenya and why everybody votes Mount Kenya? It is because of our votes. If we have 4 million votes, why can't we negotiate? We put them on the table. I want to tell the Kenyans that leadership, when it comes even to political, economic is one of the. If we can, let me remind them. And this one I'm telling the Kenyans and the Mount Kenya in particular. When you talk about the bursary, the one of Mheshimiwa here, they said. Some of the MCAs were asked to tell the president how much they give their bursaries. Most of them, the person who was giving the highest was 2,000. When you go to other places, like where I don't want to mention, you find that people actually take their electorates to abroad for education. And that's why you realize that as Mount Kenya, we are not able even to educate our children. Because when we go for the bursaries, how much can 2,000, if you have a school fees of about 100K a year, how much are you supposed to get? So what we are telling you is someone is denying you an opportunity to enjoy the benefit of a Kenyan, like any other Kenyan, either from Murang'a, either from Lamu. So I'm saying the mountain is standing tall, and anybody, anyone, anywhere, saying that BBI is bad, is not good.
Okay.
He is an enemy of the mountain.
Lots of questions coming from the people, and I think it's only fair that I read through them and then we allow you to come in. And Thumbi discuss BBI, not individuals. All right, I think we've gone through. Nicholas Mugeri, why are they complaining of Uhuru having leaders in Sagana? Okay, Dennis Thupi, unity must be within all tribes. Irungu Goko says Kiruga Dhuku gave his views during BBI task force meeting in Nyeri. He's lying, he wasn't invited. All right, we don't need to be explained by anyone who sells BBI. Okay, let's try and get others. I have to see as I proceed. Let's see another one. Bob Kim says, very well answered, Honorable Ikonya. And now Nyakwara says, I think Mount Kenya has always been united politically. According to my personal view, it's now a laughing region. Why? Because other regions are peaceful and yet Mount Kenya is quarreling, and I'm not sure people from Sugoi and Bondo are laughing at you. Oh, I am quite sure that they're actually laughing at you. Dennis Lubi, there was a Sagana declaration, question mark. Jeff Kamau says, yesterday wa Mama Nyeri waited for hours to see wakubwa wakuje waongeleshe, but then sadly enough, this they did not get. Now, the only problem with BBI on opposing side is how the corrupt goons will be dealt with within minimal time possible, probably agreeing to what it is that she says. Lenana Olendegwa says, anyone person supporting BBI, well, should actually look into what it is that they are deciding, because it's not a good thing according to them. Maxine Bahadzwa says, siwalete ile choice questions. Uone venye itapita asubuhi na mapema. Well, maybe we'll need to have that conversation. And yes, Dennis Itumbi says, well done, Kiruga. I don't know whether you've done it. All right, and there are a couple of them. Dennis Ndubi also, it's a lie to purport that all Kikuyus are in Mount Kenya.
Exactly.
It's ignorance of the highest order. That is, I mean, there are others who are on the other sides. Nikki Biwot says it's unfortunate that from 2013 and 2018, Ruto was good to Uhuru. We know Uhuru wants to give Gideon Moi. That is also another option. And this is the card of politics that is coming on. But so many questions are here and so many reactions are coming from the people. But come to you again so that we can get reactions. And Makio, we have to make it very brief because time is not on our side.
Yes. So I want us to disabuse ourselves of this notion that this is not a political process. Recently, I had the chairman of BBI, one of the co-chairmen, Honorable Dennis Waweru. He said that there are some rules. You see now the things she is doing, sabotaging others. Now, she said, they are taught those things in board. Now, you see, I was saying, Honorable Dennis Waweru said, we want to pass this thing so that we can use some of those things that we shall pass in 2022. Then he goes ahead in the same statement and says we should disassociate BBI with 2022, which is paradoxical to me. The issue here is, and I have listened very well to my friend here, Mheshimiwa Joki. Mheshimiwa Joki weaves her a narrative around, then starts saying ati watu sijui wanasema nini. What we are saying is, like my friend here is mentioning, and you can even hear the listeners there are saying, if we had a multiple choice, right, which is what the deputy president was saying, and he is entitled to his opinion. If we had a multiple choice, we would come and say, for example, in the increment of so many MPs, we say no. If there are all those things that people seem not to want, they would say no. But you see now, some very sweetener, like this word fund, this is a sweetener. It is a sweetener which is supposed to sell some very, very bitter organic cards which has been needed. Yes, like the bloated parliament, like the bloated executive, right? What I'm saying, and my closing remark. What we need most, and we have all agreed here, going by what we saw yesterday in Kisii, going in what we have been seeing, it is not about who shakes the hand of who, and people cannot be threatening us. Here they will walk out of the handshake, they will cause chaos. We must all abide by the rule. We can do like what Trump did in America. He even refused to go for the swearing in of Joe Biden. but he had to abide by the law. That is what we need most in this country.
Ikonya, make it very brief. We're at 54. We have to wind up by almost 58.
Okay, we're closing. Let me say this. I want assemblies to be very honest when they go out to the people. The Constitution is very clear that under Article 96 that assemblies are required to carry out public participation. I sit in the Committee of Implementation and Law Affairs. So that is the committee that is supposed to prosecute BBI. I want us to give a very honest report to our assemblies. Because we go to the people, we'll listen to the people, we'll hear them. I've heard them. I've been to the people around my ward and review, and I can tell you they do not support BBI. So let assemblies not cook reports and take them to the house. I will ask the people of Kiambu to come on that material day and listen to their members of county assemblies voting for that, either voting or not voting, so that they would know that their honest opinions are being are being aired, and rather the report is true and honest. Mm-hmm. So basically, so I want to appeal to our people. Let's read this document. Let's have a conversation that is informed, and let the likes of Akinataki not tell us that those of us who do not support BBI we are not right thinking people from Mount Kenya. We are right thinking. We're independent. We have and let the likes of my good friend here not casting some of us who support the deputy president. Okay. It is our right to support the deputy president. We will support him to the end, and is going to be the next president of this country.
That is finish up and limit myself to the process of how we carry it out. Yeah. And the issue of question, I think it's come out so many times. You know, there is no way you can have 70-something questions. You know, that means someone will take like an hour. So it's a bill.
So be it.
So let it be one question. You either vote for it or against it. Okay. I don't know. I know this is a process. If you don't support it, every single citizen in this country is free to come up with a referendum. You can start a process, bring the issues you want, change amendment in the Constitution, collect your signatures, and bring us your bill. And we look into it.
Stanley, brief.
Yeah, I want to be very brief and say that BBI is not about the elected leaders. It's not about the county assembly. It's not about the MCAs. It's about Wajiko herself. Yeah. And the only way that we can win this battle is leaving it to Wajiko to make the decision. This is going to happen by the public participation we are going to having. 2, about who leads this country happens after BBI. Still, Wajiko will make the decision. So coming here and saying that we should not just pass this because of what happens 2022, I think we are losing the whole plot. My support would be what Wajiko is going to support after having another engagement on issues that affect Wajiko directly, not about hearsay that will happen tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Honorable Wambui has supported what I said. We are going back to 1963, 1964 there, whereby the section paper was passed to elevate some areas and reduce some other areas. I wish the BBI was about not one man, one vote, one shillings, but it about functions. There is you can give somebody 2,000 as a bursary, but there's somebody who, even if you give him or her 10,000, he is walking miles away. And that's why education level in Central is so much high compared to other regions. I went to Kilifi County, to be specific in Magarini, whereby you find a school in over 200 kilometers to get a school. So the education level and poverty level in those areas is so much high. And when we pass BBI, they will always be more poorer than Mount Kenya region. That's my participation.
Thank you. My closing remarks is when the leaders, to my viewers, is when the leaders comes down to Machina to sell BBI, ask them how much money are we getting. Let them not tell you about other things, because what matters to Wanjiko, as much as us as politicians we care too much about the leadership position, what matters to Wanjiko, to our common Mwananchi, is how much comes to the grassroots. This BBI is moving the money to the grassroots. So by the time they mention the executive and other things that are in the BBI, just ask them how much are we going to lose if we don't adopt this BBI. And I want to finish by saying Ruto will never be the president. Thank you.
All right, now we're not discussing individuals here, but all the same they decided to say that
she was in Bodo.
Why are you countering that, yet you did not counter what it is that Ikonya said? Thank you so much, Honorable Wambui Njoki is the Deputy Leader of Majority Murang'a County. Thank you so much for your time. Honorable Macharia Taki, who was the MCA, we take the award. Thank you so much for your time. Honorable Stanley Wakifia. It was good having you. It's a tongue twister. Yes, I got it right. Yes, Honorable Stanley Wakifia is the MCA Agodi Gaki ward, right? Good to have you. And also Wanjiko Bohoho, who's the Honorable MCA for Nyandarua County. It was good having you. We have Honorable Anthony Ikonya. He's a household member right here. Thank you so much for your time. Kiambu Township. Yes.
I hope police will still have enough money to take to the people who convicted because they're also hungry.
And you say you did not take that. All right. Honorable Keruga Duku, thank you so much for your time. MCA Chinga Ward.
Chinga Ward. And you see, protect us from these people from border.
Thank you so much for keeping it TV 47 morning.